Welcome to Victoria Law TV. Today we are going to be talking about slip and fall accidents in public places. My guest is personal injury lawyer Henry Carus, and he is going to talk with us about this topic. So Henry, thanks for being here today.
My pleasure.
Henry, what should I do if I slip and fall in a public place?
Good question. Look, I've actually published a booklet that's available off my website, or if you call my office, I can provide it, which gives my condensed view of what a person should do immediately after an accident in a public space. And what I think I like to do at the outset is just to qualify my experience to provide that advice, because I think for the person listening into this program, it would be helpful to know why I feel quite comfortable giving this advice. My background is insurance law. I actually used to be a partner in an insurance firm, and the advice I used to give was to insurance companies dealing with day in, day out slip and fall accidents. So what I saw was, over a course of, let's say, 30 years, so many different types of accidents where the plaintiff's lawyers had not properly prepared the matter, and the evidence was not there to establish entitlement to compensation for the injured person. So my role these days is to empower my clients, future clients of those listening, to have that information, to have that evidence available to them so they know that they can succeed with a valid claim. Having said that, let me give you an understanding of what you should do if you have an accident in a public space, and I boiled it down to 6 steps. Okay, here are the 6 steps. Number 1, look around and find out exactly what's caused you to fall. Don't be embarrassed about what's happened. Don't try to get up. Don't try to move away. Don't feel that you have to do something right away, other than just look and see what has caused you to fall. It's really important. 2, if you're lucky to have either yourself a mobile phone or someone nearby, take a photo of what you see. Immediately document by photograph what has caused you to fall. If you can actually take a few photographs around you to get a context of what's happened, anything nearby, fixed objects, persons, it'd be really helpful to give an understanding of what has happened to you. 3rd step, there'll be people around you, some coming to your aid. At that point in time, that is the best opportunity you have to get the names and contact phone numbers of any witnesses to the accident. And most likely, they'll want to help you because you've been injured. Number 4, report the incident to someone who is responsible for that space, whether it's a store, shopping center, a local council, if it's on a footpath. Report it right away, because there's a tendency not to believe people if they're reported later on as though they made it up. So if you report it right away, there's a good chance that they'll recognize that you've been injured that day, that time, that place. Next, number 5, don't sign anything. Insurance companies have created a wonderful system, and their clients know that, to get you to sign documents which many times reflects their point of view of what's happened. You may be thinking, oh, okay, I got to sign in order to report the incident. No, you don't have to sign it to report the incident. All you got to do is report it. What they write down, that's their problem. What you have to remember is what you said and what your witnesses will say. But once you sign it, what they write down, it actually becomes what you say. And that's not always correct. So don't sign. Last but not least, contact a personal injury lawyer, because they will advise you on what steps you need to take from that moment onwards to make sure that you get the proper compensation for that injury.
Henry, that's a great checklist. Thank you for that.
My pleasure.
Henry, how is fault determined in these situations?
It turns on a number of factors, and you really have to have a clear understanding of public liability law to advise a client. It could be anything from an inadequate setup, whereby water has come onto the ground by reason, let's say, a leaking refrigerator, someone delivering goods to an area where it has actually spilled something. That's an active kind of an event where they're actually responsible for creating the slipping incident or the slipping danger. Other times it could be a customer dropping something on the ground, and it stays on the ground for a period of time, and the person then slips, and that claim turns on a failure to have a proper system of inspection to note that that's on the ground and addressing it within a reasonable time period. Other times it could be quite interesting. It could be my favorite, which are grapes. Grapes are like a constant source of accidents, unfortunately, for many stores, because they are literally an accident waiting to happen once they hit the ground. And many times the proper way to actually address them is to have mats in areas where they're likely to fall onto the ground in anticipation that the grape will eventually be there. So many different ways to address liability, and I guess having that experience over 30 years, I probably have seen every twist and turn of a slip and fall accident.
Let's talk about what benefits are available to slip and fall victims who are seriously injured.
It's kind of funny about it because when people hear the expression slip and fall, they think, this must be kind of like a minor accident. It almost kind of brings you back to the comedy days of someone having an accident and people would laugh. But the level of injury that people suffer in a slip and fall can be quite massive. I'm about today to do a mediation for a gentleman who had a slip and fall at a supermarket and blew out completely his left shoulder, where he's had 2 operations on that left shoulder. As a consequence, he is now having problems with his right shoulder because he can't use his left shoulder as he used to, so he's overusing the right shoulder. So now he's going to be living the rest of his life with 2 shoulders that are not working in the way that they should. Imagine how you can function in your day-to-day life without having your shoulders available for your day-to-day activities. You'll get entitled to pain and suffering compensation, yes, but you'll get entitled to the inability to work, medical expenses past and future, and also whatever services you require others to provide you because you can't do it themselves. Last but not least, this gentleman is okay. He's got no children at home to take care of. But if you're someone who's got to be responsible for the care of someone else, let's say a mother, you can actually get compensation for having someone take care of your children because you yourself are no longer able to do so.
Henry, do most people realize these benefits are available to them?
No, and that ignorance is sometimes used against them, quite unfortunately. I've got many clients who come to me after they've had a slip and fall accident at a shopping center or a store, and they say, I've been contacted by the insurance company, and they seem very nice. They want to offer me some money for my medical expenses, and because of my injury, they want to offer me a lump sum amount, and I don't know whether I should take it or not. And I look at what is being offered, and many times it's 1/5, 1/10, 1/20th of what could be properly seen as fair compensation. And when I start to educate them on what could be achieved, they actually wonder whether I'm actually puffing it up, making it up, exaggerating it. But about a year or so later, when I deliver, they realize that their claim for compensation really had a lot of merit.
How long does it take to get compensation after a slip and fall accident?
It depends on 2 factors. First of all, the level of person's stability. So if their injury is relatively stable, that's great. But if they're going through a period of rehabilitation or there's further surgery involved, then you have to wait for that person to come to a point where you know what is their likely permanent level of disability. Second aspect is, what's the reaction given to you by the insurance company for the business involved? Is it intelligent? Are you approaching you with some sense of fairness? Or are they going to put up walls after walls after walls to defend the matter, thinking if they do so, you will lose interest, you will lose desire, you will settle for less? And that's a part of my education process I have to give to my clients. They will do that many times. You have to anticipate that and have the perseverance to go through that stage of that process.
Henry, if someone has specific questions, how can they reach your office?
We're available 24 hours a day, possibly 7 days a week. Through the website, you can contact us by phone, and we are always here to help.
Thank you for being with us today.
My pleasure.
Until next time, this is Dee Lynham for Victoria Law TV.